Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Chapter 11, 5 days later. The forest outside the castle. Luozi carried a tree weighing 1,000 kilograms on his back, and lay on the ground doing push-ups. 998, 999, 1,000. After reaching the value specified by himself, he then unloaded the burden, got up, picked up the towel hanging on the branch beside him, and wiped the sweat from his head. Keep exercising every day, and you can really feel that your body is improving. Normal people can't do this kind of thing, but he can do it mainly because when he first obtained Roger's swordsmanship, he got physical enhancement as a bonus. Luozi. Gordon didn't know when he came to the forest. He handed out a glass of water and said, "There is something I need to tell you." "What's the matter?" Gordon. Luozi took the water glass and poured it vigorously. "About Yuta. Is she being lazy again?" Luozi laughed. "No, Yuta is studying very seriously. It's a problem on the live broadcast." Gordon shook his head and said, "In the past few days, Yuta has taken half an hour every day to use the live broadcast, but so far, no one has responded to her. She is a little receive a blow." Hearing this, Luozi turned on the system and took a look at Yuta's fan value. Still 0. "I think she needs an accompaniment. Just singing a cappella is not enough." Gordon sighed. "That's a problem. Gordon knows many musical instruments. After all, he is the king of Elijah, and he is a master of music. As for Luozi, he can only play the guitar and a little bit of the piano, but it is obviously not up to the level of being able to accompany. Of course, the main reason is that there are not enough two people. It is impossible for one person to use two different instruments, right? Need to find a band." Luozi said. "Yes, we don't need a large orchestra. We can't afford such a band now." Gordon nodded and said, "A small band of 4 or 5 people is enough. Pianist, drum kit, guitar, bass weight. A large orchestra is commonly known as a symphony orchestra. There were several Alegias in the past, but now they are all dead." "I see, I'll fix this." As an agent, Luozi took over the task. "It is obvious that we cannot afford to invite a band. Money is one aspect, and on the other hand, no band is likely to be willing to come. It's not an invitation to come over for a concert or two, it's a long-term stay at Elijah." Luozi immediately thought of a musician. Brooke from the Straw Hat Pirates? This person used to be a crew member of the Rumba Pirates, who ate the fruit of Huang Quan. Later, during a voyage, the pirates encountered a strong enemy and all members were killed. But the ability of the fruit of the underworld revived Brooke, but when he found his body, the body had turned into a skeleton. As a result, Brooke was resurrected in the form of a skeleton. This guy should be floating on a ghost ship in the Devil's Triangle area right now. Thinking of this, Luozi is going to look for it. If you can find it, you get an extra free musician. Thinking of this, he immediately blew his whistle. After a while, Kuai Long flew over. Luozi jumped on Kuai Long's back, turned to Gordon, and said, "Tell Yuta, I'll be away for a few days and help her find a band. Then I'm counting on you, Luozi." The Devil's Triangle Sea area is not in New World, but in the Sea of Paradise. At the speed of the fast dragon, starting in the morning, the red line has already been crossed in the afternoon, and entered the Sea of Paradise from New World. However, this triangular sea area is shrouded in mist all year round. Finding a ghost ship in this kind of place is no less difficult than finding a coin on a beach. At this time, Kuai Long flew above the fog, ready to descend. "Wait a moment." Luozi stopped it suddenly, looking towards the edge of the misty sea. "Is that a warship?" Slightly squinting his eyes, Luozi looked down from a high altitude. 2 big ships. One with the seagull flag symbolizing peace is a marine warship. The other is a pirate ship with a black pirate flag. A white skull surrounded by 9 snake hairs. It looks familiar, like the 9 snake pirates. Luozi thought for a while, barely had an impression, and immediately gave instructions to Kuai Long, "Close to them, don't be found at the same time." On the deck of the marine warship, a man in a suit and a marine justice cloak was scratching his head lazily, and said loudly, "Pirate Empress, this is your last chance, what do you think?" On the pirate ship opposite the warship, a tall, stunning woman wearing wine-red high-heeled shoes and a cheongsam, with one hand on her waist, her head tilted slightly, on her delicate face, a pair of almond eyes revealed a little indifference. "I hate marine And I hate world government even more. Accepting the title of Shishibukai and becoming a lackey is unacceptable to me. After a pause, he said in a cold voice, once or twice, you are really stubborn. This time, even Marine Admiral came in person. Who wants to come to such a troublesome thing? It just happened to happen. Aokiji said helplessly, but, are you too willful? The consequence of refusing is your daughter country, which will be listed as a pirate country. Have you considered it clearly? Emperor of the Daughter Kingdom, Boya Hancock. Hearing this, the corners of the Empress's mouth rose slightly, revealing a hint of sarcasm. Although it was sarcasm, but because of his high appearance, it added a bit of charm. The many marine soldiers on the warship were fascinated. What a beautiful woman, she is definitely the #1 beauty in the world. It's so beautiful. Aokiji-sama, please forgive her. Forgive her, forgive her. Aokiji's face turned black, and the group of subordinates showed pig brothers one by one, which was really embarrassing. This is not acceptable. The order I received is that if you refuse, you will destroy your 9 snake pirates on the spot. Aokiji's body was filled with air conditioning, and the deck began to freeze. This air conditioning spread to the sea surface, and the sea water began to freeze. Do you want to fight? Marine. My lord, just kill them. Beside the Empress, the 2 younger sisters looked unhappy. It's true, if everything turns to stone, the concubine's country will be protected, isn't it? The Empress brushed her hair on her chest, kissed her lips with her index finger, and then pulled out a pink heart. Captive. She is preparing to strike first. Suddenly, a voice came from the sky. It's Admiral again, and the Empress again, fighting in this kind of place? It's not good to scare the fish. Everyone looked up. I saw a dragon-shaped creature flapping its small wings, hovering in midair. The speaker sat cross-legged on the dragon's back, resting his chin with one hand, and looked at the people below with interest. Kid. Aokiji was taken aback. Good afternoon, everyone. Luozi smiled lightly and said, Aokiji, don't embarrass this woman. Anyway, Shishibukai is very short of people now. What do you think of me? Chapter 12. Regarding Luozi's self-recommendation, the scene became very quiet for a while. Aokiji stared at Luozi in a daze, then looked away after a while, and said in surprise, Boya Hancock, I didn't expect you to have children. Hancock almost tensed her iceberg face, her beautiful eyebrows twitched violently, with the urge to kill Aokiji. I don't know this kid myself. She stared at Aokiji. If eyes could kill, Aokiji would have died 100 times. Luozi. That's right, the age doesn't match. Aokiji seems to be belatedly aware. How can a 19-year-old empress give birth to a child who looks 11 or 12 years old? He looked up again, with a lazy tone. She said she didn't know you. Then who are you? The empress followed closely and cast her eyes on Luozi. Luozi was speechless for a while, completely unable to understand Aokiji's brain circuit. He looked at Aokiji, then at the empress. Needless to say, the Empress is so beautiful. The height looks to be 1.9 meters, the headlights are big and white, the figure is very good, Kumji hairstyle, on the delicate face, the corners of the eyes are slender and delicate, the bridge of the nose is high, the nose is small, the lips are rosy, soft as if there is no trace folds. She was dressed in a Cheongsam-style dress with a slit on one side, revealing her fair thighs. Especially with a well-mannered temperament, it's no wonder that his cold appearance can fascinate men. This is a peerless beauty that most men can figure out what the child's last name is when they see it, and where they will be buried after death. Luozi couldn't help but look at the Empress a few more times. It's just that when I think about my current physical age, I get even more excited. Luozi. He reported his name with a faint tone. Aokiji, you don't want to fail the mission, so go back like this? This woman hates the world government very much, but I am different. For the sake of peace, I am very happy to accept 7 Warlords of the Sea title. Are you a pirate? How much is the bounty? Although Aokiji is admiral, it is impossible to know all the wanted bounty criminals. 0 Luozi gestured to 0, also, I'm not a pirate. After crossing, he didn't do any bad things except snatching a newspaper boy's newspaper. I'm not a pirate, but I want the title of Shishibukai. Aokiji looked surprised. The world government needs Shishabukai's force and fame to suppress the large number of pirates. Let's put aside the reputation for now. In terms of force. As soon as the words fell, he started. 1 second he was chatting kindly, but the next second he started doing it without warning. 2 thorny spears. The air conditioning inflated by an unknown number of times in an instant, and the moisture in the atmosphere was condensed into several ice spears, which suddenly hit Luozi in the sky. Humph! A trace of disdain flashed in the eyes of the Empress. Marine Admiral even played a sneak attack and bullied a child. She wanted to stop it, not specifically to help Luozi, but simply hated Marine. But Aokiji's sneak attack was very fast, and when she wanted to stop it, it was too late. A pair of beautiful eyes looked at Luozi, but the next scene made her face startled. Whoosh! The 6 paths ice spear hit Luozi with incomparable precision, then passed through the body of the boy on the dragon's back as if nothing had happened, and disappeared into the distant sky. You don't talk about martial arts, come to cheat, come and attack me, an 11-year-old kid. Luozi narrowed his eyes slightly, and his tone became colder. Ala, it's clearly hit. Are you a capable person? Aokiji was not embarrassed at all, and even slapped him backwards. Don't say that, little brother, if you were me, you might have done more. Riding a dragon ran over and asked me for Shishibuki's name, and I'll measure your strength. Isn't it the right thing to do? Then feel it with your body. Luozi's eyes focused. Mangekyo Sherinan launched Kamui. In an instant, a vortex of space was born. Aokiji's face changed suddenly, and he looked at his right arm. An indescribable suction force was tearing at his arm, and the force of space distortion made it difficult for him to break free for a while. This is the ability of the space type. Aokiji, who has experienced many battles, realized something was wrong in an instant. Armament haki immediately wraps around the locked part, however. This power cannot be broken by armament haki. Just 2 seconds. When the tearing force reached ultimate, Aokiji's face couldn't keep his composure, and he felt his arms were going away from him. Puff! Blood spilled out suddenly, and an arm was violently wrenched off by the distorted space. Aokiji Admiral! A group of sailors shouted in shock. Aokiji clutched the broken arm, his face extremely serious. The torn arm turned into shattered ice in midair, and then regrouped at the fracture and grew out again. Seeing this scene, the sailors breathed a sigh of relief. Aokiji Admiral is an ability user of Logia frozen fruit. I was really shocked just now, this kid can actually distort space. Aokiji Admiral will be fine at all, Elemental is invincible. How could it be all right? Aokiji stared at the boy on the dragon's back, with his left hand covering the broken part of his right arm. In places covered by palms. The connecting part of the gap is not the regrown flesh and blood, but ice. He's literally elementalized. Immunity to any physical attack without armament haki. But the other party distorted the space and permanently erased his elemental part of the body. Others don't know, but the Empress understands. She showed a surprised expression, and looked up at Luozi deeply. Luozi was still sitting on the back of the dragon, so he said unhurriedly, "Do you want to take back what you lost? Go back and tell the world government and give me the title." After a pause, he said with a smile that was not a smile, "Or do you want to take it back by force? Hey, that Empress over there, let's work together to kill him." What an arrogant kid. The Empress raised a smile, "Yes, although I hate men, I can join hands when necessary." Aokiji, still say you don't know him? Absolutely know it? He took a deep breath, turned and walked towards the cabin of the warship. Gone back chapter 13, wait a moment. Seeing that Aokiji was about to withdraw, Luozi immediately called to stop him. "Is there anything else to say? Give me the stuff back. Of course the things will be returned to you, but not now. When the government makes a decision, you can use it to contact me." Luozi threw a card over. Aokiji took it and glanced at it. There was a string of numbers written on the card, apparently the phone bug's number. "Let's go, return." Without saying anything, he turned and entered the cabin of the warship. A senior colonel followed immediately, and said in a deep voice, "Aokiji Admiral, are you going to let 9 snakes go like this? Although that child looks like it's not this problem, the problem is that dragon." Aokiji touched the ice on the broken arm, and said helplessly, "The moment I tried to test it just now, the dragon gave me a very dangerous feeling. A dangerous dragon, a demon fruit power with space-type abilities, a pirate empress, plus fighters from the Kuja pirates. Even if he is admiral, facing this kind of lineup, he dare not say that he is sure to win. Even if they can win, the sailors on the warship may not survive. Of course, the most important thing is that he doesn't like trouble. Where did this kid come from? Someone has to investigate when we go back, he thought to himself. A huge warship sailed away slowly, gradually turning into a small black spot in the field of vision, and finally disappeared at the sea level. Luo Ziyi withdrew his gaze and turned to look at the Empress. The Empress was also looking at him. Boya Hancock, am I doing you a favor? You child. The Empress showed a rare interest. What ability was it just now? I'm a spaceman who ate a space fruit. Luo Ziyi nonsense, said, I help you, you have to help me. I came here to find a person, he is in the Devil's Triangle Sea area, on a ghost ship. You ask the crew of 9 snakes to help me find someone. Heard that. Before the Empress opened her mouth, the 2 younger sisters were already a little angry. Nonsense? Obviously you wanted the title of Shishibukai, so that's why you did it. The second sister Boya Sandersonia snorted. That's right, my lord, don't pay attention to him at all. The Devil's Sea is so big, if you help him find a boat, when will you find it? Third sister Boya Marigold shook her head. So, you are a bunch of ungrateful women. The Empress's slender brows trembled. She stared at the boy on the dragon's back, and after a while she suddenly smiled with unknown meaning. You did help me, and I'm not an ungrateful person, but I don't like trouble when I help you find someone. After a pause, the smile on the corner of her mouth gradually became Zhongyang. I am a wayward woman, but no matter what I do, I will be forgiven, because I am so beautiful. Even a child is a male, so show your true nature in front of the concubine? She was full of anticipation, waiting to appreciate Luo Ziyi's ugly appearance. Shameless. Luo Ziyi choked speechlessly. You are beautiful, let me admit it, but these are 2 different things. Just say whether you want to find it or not. As soon as the words fell, the Empress felt struck by lightning. She clutched her heart, staggered 2 steps, and was supported by 2 younger sisters. Sister. Who? The Empress couldn't stand Luo Ziyi's contemptuous eyes. Her chest heaved with anger. If the situation were different, she would have turned the stinky child into stone on the spot, but he just helped her, and she was not the kind of ungrateful person. My lord, there's no need to be angry with a child. Marigold saw through the truth, and hurriedly said, a child like this can't understand the beauty of my lord at all, right? That's right. Children don't know the beauty of concubines. The Empress calmed down and regained a little bit of confidence. She even imagined 10 years later in her mind. 10 years later, when this stinky child grows up and meets each other again in the vast ocean, he finally understands the beauty of concubine body when he is older, and at that time, concubine body will definitely despise him back. Thinking of this, she stood firm, pointing at Luo Ziyi in the sky with her white fingers like jade, and said proudly, I'll forgive your offense this time, brat. You'll regret it sooner or later, huh? After speaking, she turned and walked towards the poop. At the same time, a sentence that was slightly unpleasant and unwilling to float in place. 9 snake pirates, turn the rudder and enter the misty sea. She ultimately chose to help. My lord. The 2 younger sisters immediately chased after her. The rest of the crew glared at Luo Ziyi one after another. Stinky brat, how dare you make Her Majesty angry? It's unbelievable, children are just children, and they don't understand the beauty of the Empress at all. My Lady Empress is the most beautiful woman in the world. The pirate Empress who has won 80 million bounties for just one expedition. Be grateful, brat, the Empress is very merciful and willing to help you once. The group of women chattered and didn't know what they were talking about. Luo Ziyi has 10 mouths and can't talk to them. Tuko full of black lines. Hurry up and find someone for me, you stinky women. Even with the help of the 9 snake pirates, it is not easy to find a ghost ship in the Devil's Triangle waters. While Luo Ziyi and others were busy, on the other side, Aokiji's warship arrived at naval headquarters at 10 o'clock in the evening. Marineford. The fortress-like headquarters building, the marshal's office. What did you say? Rejected again. The current marshal, Buddha Sengoku, said with a headache, that woman is very strong. The Conqueror's Awakener has that kind of fruit ability. The government attaches great importance to her. There was a little accident. Aokiji sat on the sofa, holding the back of his head with his hands, closed his eyes and meditated. A little boy came out and rode a dragon, and my arm was broken by him. What? Surprised, Sengoku realized that Aokiji's right arm, near the shoulder, was connected by a section of ice. Eating a certain type of space-type devil fruit can distort the space tens of meters away. I can't resist it with my armed color. It should be that I have developed the fruit's ability to a very deep level. Aokiji explained calmly, as if he wasn't the one who lost his arm. How strong is it? Sengoku frowned and asked. I don't know. He claims to be not a pirate, and the bounty is 0. Let alone him himself, the dragon sitting under him is a little tricky. Compared with Luozi, Aokiji pays more attention to Kuai-Long. Sengoku was speechless for a while, frowning and thinking about when such a master would appear in the sea, but not impressed. What does he want to do? He dares to attack you. Hearing this, Aokiji said subtly, he wants Shishibukai. Chapter 14, 2 days later. Devil's Triangle Sea Area. Perfume Snake Pirate Ship, Restaurant. A group of women surrounded Kuai-Long, constantly feeding food with great enthusiasm. What a cute dragon, can I touch you? Kai-Long, do you want to eat this? This is a specialty of our daughter country, snake fruit. Want to drink? Come and compete with me for a bar? If you lose, you have to take me to the sky to fly around. Whether it's a female man or a cute girl, these women from the 9 snake pirates are all chattering around Kuai-Long. In contrast, the other side of the table, Luozi looked at the popular Kuai-Long blankly. Humans are indeed a creature that likes to be fed. Whether it is a tiger, a lion, or even a dragon, human beings want to paw a few times. Of course, the main reason is that Kuai-Long looks cute. Withdrawing his gaze, Luozi looked at the person sitting across from him, the Empress's second younger sister, Sandersonia. It's not fair, Kuai-Long eats so well, just give me a few apples. Humph, you made my sister angry, you should be laughing if you didn't drive me away. You are the first man who can board this ship. Sandersonia rested her chin on her hands, observing the little boy in front of her. Although the attitude is bad, but looks very good-looking. Luozi was helpless, and he didn't know what to be angry about. He took a bite of the apple and said, it's been 2 days and you still haven't found it? Is your efficiency good? Sandersonia laughed angrily. Who do you think it is for? This sea area is much bigger than you imagined. Bad luck, you may not be able to find it in a month. After a pause, he complained again, our people are looking for ghost ships everywhere. You are not in a hurry. You eat and drink for free on our ship every day. What's my hurry? Don't you have you? Luozi was surprised. This free tool man, if you don't use it, why don't you go find it yourself? Has anyone ever told you that you need to be spanked, brat? Sandersonia said the terrible words with a smile. The two were having a friendly conversation when a female soldier walked into the restaurant. Lord Sandersonia, we found the ghost ship. Hearing this, Luozi immediately stood up, walked outside, and at the same time shouted at Kuai-Long, don't eat, let's go. Sandersonia immediately asked, did you really find it? Yes, said the female warrior, my Lord Empress has already passed by first. The kid is lucky. Sandersonia muttered, and followed her out of the restaurant. Soon after, a dilapidated ghost ship that has been floating in this sea for at least 40 years. When Luozi landed on the deck riding a fast dragon, he saw the Empress with her younger sister Marigold looking at a skeleton in front of her with an unhappy expression. You are such a beautiful young lady. May I take the liberty to show you your panties? Holding a cup of coffee, Brooke straightened the bow on his neckline, and spoke very gentlemanly words with a gentlemanly attitude. What's the matter with this afro-headed skull? It's already an old bone. Marigold was speechless, and he didn't know what's so good about his underwear. Even if a man is dead, he's still lecherous, right? The queen's eyebrows trembled, and she wanted to turn people into stones on the spot. Seeing Luozi flying in a fast dragon, he raised his head and said, this is the person you are looking for? For your sake, I will spare him once. My face is so big. Luozi was shocked. He actually has such a thing as face with the Empress. Yo ho 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 ho. Brooke let out a series of unique laughter. I was really rude just now. I haven't seen a living human being for many years. I can't help it. I'm looking for you. Luozi ignored what the Empress said about the face issue, and turned to Brooke and said, come with me to Elijah. Elijah, Isn't that the legendary capital of music? Brooke was taken aback. Elegia? The Empress frowned slightly. If my memory is correct, the news said that this country had been destroyed more than 10 days ago. So this stinky kid is from Elegia. She thought silently in her heart, and couldn't help imagining a picture. Someday 10 years from now, she brought the 9 snake pirates to visit Elegia. On the port, the grown-up stinky child who was selling coolies was shocked when he saw her. Please marry me, beautiful angel. The grown-up stinky kid knelt down on one knee and proposed on the spot. No, after all, I'm a shameless concubine. Use the most contemptuous attitude to severely reject the other party? Then admire the regretful expression of this stinky kid. Ha ha. The Empress felt relieved for a while, and the anger she had had 2 days ago had dissipated a lot, and an unconscious smile even overflowed her face. This woman smiles so weirdly. Luozi glanced at the Empress, and said, Your name is Brooke, musician, Elegia needs your talent. Hey, you know me. Brooke said in shock. I've been dead for 40 years. It's amazing that my eyes fell off. Ah, although I don't have eyes, woohoo. Empress. Marigold. What kind of cold joke is this? Ha, do you want to come? Luozi laughed, knowing Brooke's character very well. Well, yes. I agreed without hesitation. Then let's go. Luozi was not surprised by this situation. Drifting in a dark sea for 40 years, only the corpses of his former companions accompanied him, and those corpses would decay with the passage of time. To be able to endure this loneliness without going crazy, Brooke's spirit can be described as quite tenacious. When Brooke got into the car, Luozi patted Kuailong on the head. I have to work hard on you again. Kuailong let out a cheerful cry and flew up slowly. Luozi looked at the Empress on the deck, and said with a faint smile, Thank you, Boya Hancock. Humph. The Empress snorted proudly. Doesn't seem to bother accepting thanks at all. But the little theater in her mind is not over yet. Definitely despise and go back. Elegia, I remember it? Chapter 15, Quick. Too fast? It's so fast, but you didn't feel the wind pressure. On Kuailong's back, Brooke yelled. It's called Kuailong. As a dragon, it has the power to control the wind. Haven't you noticed? There is an invisible cover around it. Hearing what Luozi said, Brooke immediately noticed. I see. But, the dragon, isn't that a legendary creature? It actually exists in reality. He sat behind Luozi and said with emotion, By the way, I didn't ask your name. I'm Brooke. Next, shall we go to Elegia? Luozi. Anyway, let's go back to Elegia first. My little diva needs a band. While answering, Luozi thought about the next candidate. There must be at least 4 people in the band. He knew very few musicians, Brooke being one. In addition to him, there are disc player APU, a member of the extremely evil generation 10 years later, the captain of the radio pirates. Luozi doesn't like this person, pass, and who knows where he is now. Kojiki Hiri, the little princess of Wanakuni, is good at playing and singing. In the future, she will be one of the 3 peerless beauties who can be named after the Empress Boya Hancock. She is only 14 years old now, and if she has a chance, she can be abducted to Elegia. Cornus, a resident of Sky Island, is a kind-hearted little girl that Luffy met first when he landed on Sky Island. She is good at playing the harp. The harp is not an urgently needed instrument for the band, so let's put it aside for now. Diva Ann, a popular singer who appeared in Operation Frenzy. Now I don't know where she is. Thinking about it this way, the only suitable candidate at the moment is Kojiki Hiri. Wanakuni is not far from Elegia. Luozi thought quietly. Going to Wanakuni, you have to consider a little risk. It is the territory of the 4 Sanhuang Kaido. Find a chance to go there and take Kaido's daughter away. Without talking all the way, Luozi took Brooke and returned to Elegia that afternoon. Brooke couldn't help but freeze for a moment as the island gradually came into view. The legendary capital of music, Elegia. Why does it look like this? There are collapsed buildings everywhere, and there are no people. Forgot to tell you, not long ago, Elegia was destroyed by a great pirate named Shanks. Luozi resolutely gave the blame to Shanks to protect our little diva. It turned out to be like this. Don't worry, counting you. There are 4 people on the island. We want to rebuild this country. Great goal. While talking, the 2 descended into the castle. Gordon happened to be at the door, and when he saw Luozi coming back, he nodded in greeting, then looked at Brooke, startled. Ghost. I'm sorry, I'm a resurrected person who ate the fruit of the underworld, Brooke. It's the first time we meet, yo ho 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 ho. Brooke saluted very gentlemanly. I'm Gordon, the king who once ruled here. Anyway, welcome to Elijah. Gordon looked at Luozi blankly. Is this the band member you brought back? Gordon, where's Yuta? Yuta is in the live room. On the air. No, I'm practicing singing. Hearing this, Luozi nodded, greeted Brooke, and walked into the castle together. When I came to the door of the live broadcast room, I could hear Yuta's singing from inside. Where does this breeze come from? Even if we asked like this, the sky never answered. Where will this song go in the end? I want to find the answer that only belongs to me. This song, the last ending song of the red-haired diva, a song that Yuta sang a cappella when he died in Red Hair's arms. Luozi really likes this song? I remember the name is Where the Wind Goes, which was written by Yuta herself. When she was in Windmill Village, she loved to sing this song very much. Behind him, Brooke said in shock, what a beautiful singing voice, Mr. Luozi. Is this the diva you mentioned? It's amazing. For musicians, just listening to a few sentences, one can judge a person's talent at once. Is Yuta amazing? Luozi said with a smile, quite a sense of comfort from an old father. Amazing, really amazing. Brooke nodded, it's just that this song is so sad and lonely. Just after finishing speaking, the door of the live broadcast room was opened with a bang. Ziz, you're back? It's too much to run away without saying a word. She heard the conversation outside the door, and ran out impatiently, and threw herself into Luozi's arms like a baby swallow returning to its nest. I went to help you find a band. Can't you sing a cappella all the time? Luozi touched Yuta's head and said with a smile, his name is Brooke. Yeah. Only then did Yuta notice Brooke. His little face turned pale with fright, and he hid behind Luozi. Brooke, sorry, I'm a ghost. Don't scare her. Luozi said helplessly, this is a member of the band, who will accompany you from now on. Yes, it is my honor to be the accompanist for Miss Brooke praised. Piano, drums, guitar, bass, wind instruments, I can do everything. Yes, is it? Yuta poked his head out cautiously. Are you really not a ghost? No, you see I have a shadow. There's a real shadow. I was taken aback. My name is Yuta, and welcome to Elijah. Yuta smiled and held out his hand. I'm Brooke, please give me your advice. A small hand and a bone hand hold each other, and the picture is surprisingly harmonious. Luozi said, Yuta, I won't be broadcasting live for a while, because I'm too impatient. We should improve your singing skills as soon as possible, and practice singing first. Yeah, I listen to you, you are a manager. Yuta nodded obediently. Been with Luozi for nearly half a month, and she likes Ceze very much. From now on, I will use the guitar, Brooke, you will use the piano. Although there are still some shortcomings, let's practice like this for now. Luozi arranged a plan, and he can play the guitar well. Acoustic guitar and piano are also a very commonly used accompaniment combination. No problem, I can't wait to hear Miss Yuta sing. Brooke was more positive than Luozi, and was even moved to tears. What luck, I must be favored by God. I'm sorry, I lost my composure. Too many good things happened today, not only met people, but also came to music the capital. The tears of being moved have overflowed from the eyes. Although I have no tears, yo ho 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 ho. Yuta was amused. Ha ha ha, you're so funny, Brooke. Thank you for the compliment, a rare opportunity, little Yuta. Can I appreciate your boom? Luozi kicked angrily, if you don't speak, no one will think you are dumb. This is his little diva. I'm sorry. Brooke apologized honestly, and then let out a characteristic laugh. With the addition of Brooke and the guitar accompaniment of Luozi, Yuta is happy every day. Maybe it's really because of the accompaniment. With the accompaniment, Yuta's singing skills are improving rapidly. Among them, the song Target Pokemon Master has improved the most. Because this song is very happy, Yuta is also very happy, and under the emotional resonance, the score of this song is improving by leaps and bounds. On the first day, 75 points. The next day, 76 points. On the third day, 77. Until the seventh day, that is, a week later, Yuta finally reached an excellent 80 points. The system recognized this achievement. At the same time, Luozi also heard the system's prompt. Song, target Pokemon Master Singer, Yuta singing score, 80 mission completed. Congratulations on getting a random beast, Crack Karakura. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Chapter 16, Crack Karakura. Luozi looked at the Pokeball in his hand, a little surprised. This is a divine beast among divine beasts, much stronger than ordinary second-level gods. When he wanted to release it immediately, the system's prompt sounded in his mind. The mythical beast is large in size and will cause huge damage when it is released for the first time. Karakura, god of the sky, looks like a different place, can't destroy the castle. Luozi thought to himself. However, I am a little puzzled. If he remembers correctly, the cracked Karakura is only 7 meters long and weighs more than 200 kilograms. It can't be said that it is bigger, right? Thinking so, Luozi took the elf ball and walked out of the castle. I want to release again, but the system prompt remains the same. Not here. Startled for a moment, Luozi immediately blew his whistle and called Kuai-Long. When he was on the island, he would raise Kuai-Long, and Kuai-Long didn't like staying in the Pokeball all the time. After riding the fast dragon, Luozi flew away from Elijah. 1 kilometer, number 10 kilometers, or not. After flying 100 kilometers away, finally, the system prompt disappeared. Is it so outrageous? Luozi couldn't help but slander. Without hesitation, he decisively pressed the button of the Pokeball. Come out, Crack Karakura! A red light shot out from the elf ball, and the red light shot straight into the sky and injected into the very high clouds. Rumble! Suddenly, the sky within the field of vision darkened, and thunder rang out. At this moment, dark clouds covered the sky. The atmosphere was vibrating violently, and the ocean became extremely turbulent. Waves tens of meters high rose and fell in the raging wind. Luozi stared at the sky in a daze. It's just for a show, don't you want to be so outrageous? However, what he didn't know was that the scope of this influence far exceeded his vision. The top of the red line, a holy place located 10,000 meters above sea level. This is the headquarters of the world government, and it is also where the celestial dragons, the descendants of the Creator and the nobles of the world, live. At this moment, the sky darkened in an instant. The 5 old men in the office of the highest authority all stood up from the sofa. They walked to the window and looked at the dark sky with dull expressions. What happened? This is Marijoy's. It suddenly turned dark? It's noon. Not normal climate change. Did you feel the vibration? The atmosphere is shaking. The 5 looked at each other in disbelief. The first time he suspected a certain man, the ability user of Paramecia shock fruit. However, even he couldn't do such a thing. Moreover, according to their information, that person was in the depths of the New World Sea area, far away from Marijoy's. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Then, a man in a white suit and a mask walked in. Master 5 Elders. CP0? What's the matter? Just after receiving dozens of reports, the sea area of New World turned black in an instant, just like the current Marijoy's. Hearing this, the faces of the 5 people were shocked. What did you say? Meanwhile, at naval headquarters, the sky is equally dark. North blue, west blue. These 2 sea areas, a large area close to the New World, also suffered from changes in the world. Wanakuni, Ghost Island. Kaido, who was drinking, suddenly looked up at the sky. What? His drunkenness dissipated, and he instantly turned into a green dragon and soared into the sky. With Luozi as the center, within a radius of about 5,000 kilometers, there are dark clouds, and the extremely thick clouds are like an impenetrable city wall. Roar! The dragon chant resounded through the sky. Among the black clouds, a looming green dragon slowly poked its head out. Its huge size made Luozi speechless for a moment. This is 7 meters? Is this called a larger body? Most of Karakura's body is hidden in the dark clouds, but only the part that can be seen by Luozi is already huge enough to suffocate. Seemingly noticing the existence of Luozi, Karakura locked his eyes on him. The next moment, a voice sounded in my mind. You are my little master. You can still talk. Luozi showed surprise. Compared to this, Can you remove the fine print? I feel several powerful auras approaching. Crack Karakura was still staring, his mouth didn't move at all, but the voice was transmitted directly to Luozi's mind. With such a big movement, surely someone will come and take a look, right? Luozi was not surprised. Here we come. Suddenly, Karakura's voice sounded again. I saw a golden light suddenly shooting from the sky far away. With a pop, the golden light exploded in midair, and then the photons condensed, gradually turning into a tall figure. It's scary, a dragon. Kizaru looked at Karakura in astonishment. Compared to the giant Karakura's head, his size was just that of an ant. Marine Admiral, Kizaru. Luozi raised his eyebrows. Loki, a sparkling fruit ability user. Indeed, there is no faster person in this world than him. Leaving aside the front swing of the driving ability, only the speed of movement, he is the speed of light. At this moment, Kizaru stepped lightly on the atmosphere, just floating in the air. Moonwalk? Luozi frowned. Noticing his gaze, Kizaru looked at Luozi and said unexpectedly, "It's really strange, is there anyone faster than me? Who are you?" Seeing the fast dragon under Luozi's feet again, his breath stopped. Another train? Luozi didn't speak, just watched quietly. At this time, the split Karakura suddenly launched an attack. In the opened dragon's mouth, the concentrated golden energy is like a sundae. Next moment, boom, destroy the dead light. A terrifying blow, far surpassing Kuei Long's destructive death light. The golden beam engulfed Kizaru in an instant, and drove into the deep sea. There was a loud bang, and the ocean seemed to be cut by a huge sharp blade, and the huge waves that were set off even reached the height of Luozi. Shouldn't he be dead? The sea water receded, as if it was raining cats and dogs. Luozi is speechless. What ancient weapon? Uranus? Karakura is Uranus? This power can definitely wipe out an island with one blow. Chapter 17. There are 3 very scary ancient weapons in this world. Pluton Pluto, rumored to be an invincible warship that can destroy an island with a single shot. Poseidon Poseidon is a humanoid weapon that can summon supergiant sea kings with a body length of even more than 5,000 meters. Uranus Uranus, an unknown ancient weapon, is suspected to be controlled by Im, the king of celestial dragons. It also has the power to destroy an island with one blow. At this time, Luozi saw the power of the beast Karakura. In terms of destructive power alone, it would not be weaker than ancient weapon, or even stronger. It's really scary. I was almost killed. Kizaru's voice sounded again, a golden light flashed, and he appeared in front of Luozi again. His tone of voice was weird, lazy, indifferent, and it sounded a bit eccentric. But this was his usual way of speaking. Luozi sat down, sat on Kuei Long's back, and said casually, as expected of Admiral Polisalino, he hid very quickly. The Flashman has the power of the speed of light. If you want to hide, it is really not easy to hit this person. You who have been watching the show, can you explain, what is this? Kizaru glanced at Luozi lightly, and then kept focusing on Karakura. Indeed dodged. However, the power of this attack made him break out in a cold sweat. If you don't dodge this, Aokiji and the others can have dinner at the headquarters tomorrow. Obviously it was some kind of pure energy attack. Elementalization couldn't save him. The energy level is not on the same level. If you hit it, you will definitely die. Who asked you to come? Luozi asked. Without answering. The sky starts to get dark from here, and it spreads to the holy place Marijois. Halfway through his words, the golden light gathered in Karakura's mouth again. The concentrated energy is like a small sundae. Are you kidding? Can this kind of attack be fired randomly? Kizaru's complexion was stiff, fine cold sweat overflowed from his forehead. Without saying a word, he turned into a photon and dissipated on the spot. Boom! The moment he avoided it, the destructive death light came again. Boom! The monstrous waves that have not subsided yet rushed to the sky again, and the falling sea water made the rain even heavier. The torrential downpour hit Luozi. With a flash of golden light, Kizaru appeared again. He raised his hand to wipe his cold sweat, glanced at Luozi and said, "Why does this dragon keep attacking the old man?" "Maybe it's because you're ugly," Luozi said. He didn't give orders, it was Karakura's spontaneous behavior. No wonder the system keeps reminding him that the first release will cause huge damage before being released from the Pokeball. If this is released in Elijah, there will be no Elijah. For Luozi's banter, Kizaru didn't care at all. He put all his heart on Karakura. This kind of attack can't be dodged again and again. What is this thing? From Marijoi's to here, it is at least 4,000 kilometers, and it caused the darkness. Kizaru thought to himself. He happened to be in Marijoi's, and the 5 elders asked him to look into it, and while he didn't like trouble, he couldn't disobey orders. If he knew it was so dangerous, he just pretended to fool the higher UPS. While thinking, his body burst into a strong golden light. Then, he raised his finger, and with a whoosh, a beam of laser light instantly hit Karakura. But because of the huge difference in physique, this attack was like scratching an itch. After hitting Karakura's chin, the laser was directly scattered. So hard. Kizaru was numb all over. It didn't even break the defense? Just kidding, Kaido is not that hard, and he is also a dragon. Kaido is not as big as the dragon in front of him, at least a circle bigger. Some kind of awakened Zoan phantom beast. Kizaru thought speculatively, but felt wrong. With this kind of destructive power, it's just like the legendary ancient weapon, Uranus. Karakura was hit by the laser and was immediately enraged. It opened its mouth and let out a loud dragon roar. The sound pressure alone instantly made the rain stagnate in the air. As if time was frozen, for a few seconds, the sea rolled back, and the terrifying sea water, hundreds of millions of tons of sea water was lifted up by an invisible force. Like a picture scroll, from the left and right directions, the rolled-up sea water, like 2 fly swatters, suddenly pinched towards Kizaru in midair. Even the sea can be manipulated. The old man has provoked it. Kizaru was dripping with cold sweat. It was too scary. Slipped away, slipped away. It's not that the old man doesn't want to investigate, it's really powerless. If he doesn't leave, he has to explain here. Dissipating into photons, Kizaru darted toward the distant sky before the sea beat him to death. A beam of golden light traversed the sky and disappeared in an instant. He ran away. Luozi was speechless. It was useless. He also wanted to see Karakura's other abilities. I'm hungry. Suddenly, Karakura's voice sounded in my mind. This voice is neither male nor female, and the beast has no gender. What do you like to eat? Luozi asked. He vaguely remembered that Karakura depended on the water and particles in the atmosphere for food. With such a huge body, how many things he had to eat in a day. I'm going to the ozone layer, little master. If you encounter danger, you can call me at any time. As long as you are within the range of this planet, I can hear you. After saying this, Karakura, who was hiding in the black cloud, slowly disappeared and headed towards the higher sky. Don't return the pokeball. Luozi was startled, as if it was the same. Karakura has always lived in the ozone, and the small pokeball can't hold it. However, after hearing what Karakura said, it doesn't matter. It's like a space-based weapon. When needed, it can let the attack fall on the top of the head at any time. As expected of a divine beast, the strength is a bit outrageous. The gap between a quasi-god and a divine beast is completely different. As a full-level quasi-god, Kuailong can fight the pirate emperor, but he may not be able to beat it. In contrast, Karakura can easily suppress Admiral, and it is not an exaggeration to describe it as playing. Not to mention that it was only Kizaru who came. He felt that the 3 admirals came out together, and he could only scratch his head in the face of Karakura. Chapter 18, Karakura is so strong, I can't fall behind. Pokemon is a Pokemon, and my own strength is more important. Watching Karakura disappear, Luozi patted Kuailong, indicating to return. Turn on the system, the task has been updated. Diva training task, Singer Yuta sings Pokemon Master, and when the singing score reaches 100 points, every time she sings in the future, the manager can get any Pokemon, all random. Sure enough, there is a follow-up, and it's a repetitive task. This means that once Yuta can sing this song perfectly, he will have countless Pokemon. All random means that it is possible to get everything from the Carp King who can only splash and jump to the beast-level grass mud horse. There may be a difference in probability, but as long as you sing enough times, it is entirely possible to summon more than 1,000 kinds of Pokemon in One Piece world. It's nothing more than making Yuta sing 1,000,000 times more. It's no wonder that when you got the system, you told me to squeeze the diva hard. Luozi's expression was subtle. In the future, Elijah may not become the island of Pokemon. Just as Luozi returned to Elijah, on the other side, Karakara flew towards the ozone layer. On the endless sea of clouds, Kaido, who came late, discovered the existence of Karakara at a glance. Dragon. Kaido's pupils constrict suddenly. The change in the sky is caused by this dragon. He narrowed his eyes and quickly intercepted it. Forget about the little ghost riding a dragon that I met before. The shape of that dragon is different from him. But the one in front of him is bigger than him in size, and it gives people a strong sense of oppression when viewed from a distance. This world doesn't need so many dragons. With an angry snort, the blue dragon Kaido flew above Karakara. Who are you? On the fruit map, there is no phantom beast in your form. Cracking Karakara, without any response, went straight to the sky. Seeing this, Kaido laughed angrily, but was ignored. He opened his mouth with a flame, heat breath. The hot breath spit out of the mouth is powerful enough to wipe out a mountain peak with one blow, melting the mountain body instantly and evaporating it. Cracked Karakara did not dodge or dodge, and bumped into it head-on. The flames hit its head, and were blocked by the green scales, making it difficult to penetrate its terrifying defenses. Kaido's complexion changed slightly. What a strong defense! What kind of dragon are you? Karakara still ignored it, and it flew over Kaido's head in a blink of an eye. Kaido didn't move, just watched Karakara pass him coldly. When he looked up, an emerald green dragon tail had already swung down. Just like the killer whale in the sea hunting and killing its prey, it uses its tail to lash the target. Snapped! With a lightning-fast twitch, Kaido's head was slapped dizzily, and he vomited blood on the spot. The terrifying power prevented him from grasping his own flame cloud, and his huge body quickly fell towards the sea of clouds. As he vomited blood and fell, Kaido lost consciousness. But in just a second, he recovered. Unbelievable in his heart, he stared fixedly at the green dragon flying towards the sun. This understated blow imprinted an invincible image on his mind. At this moment, Kaido immediately understood. Can't beat it? The other party is not interested in talking to him? Asshole. In the blink of an eye, he fell into the sea of clouds. The mutated sky due to the birth of Karakara lasted for several hours before gradually recovering. More than a dozen powerful auras came to the place where the incident happened, but found nothing. Those with abilities came by flying, and journalists also came by airship. But all to no avail. Holy Land, Marijois. 5 elders looked at Kizaru seriously, and said, "So, you're back." Kizaru was sitting on the opposite sofa, clipping his nails, and said casually, "I was almost killed. If I don't run away, I will really die." "What you said is true. Polisalino, this is not a joke," one of the old men with a sword said in a serious tone. "When I got there, someone was already one step ahead of me." Kizaru put down the nail clippers, stood up from the sofa, faced the 5 elders, and said, "A child riding a dragon, who looks about 11 or 12 years old. The kid riding a dragon." The yellow-haired 5 elders frowned, and took out a photo. "Is this the guy?" Glancing at the photo, Kizaru was taken aback. "It's him. Luozi in the photo is sitting cross-legged on Kuai Long. There is such a thing." The yellow-haired 5 elders' expression was not very good. A few days ago, Naval Headquarters reported a rather unusual incident to the government. A child named Luozi passed Aokiji and wanted to ask them for a Shishibukai position. The key point is that this person is not a pirate, but a child who has raised a dragon. I don't know if that dragon is a capable person. After learning about this incident, he asked the people from CP0 to investigate, but no news has come yet. Unexpectedly, I heard something related to it from Kizaru. Who is this person? Kizaru couldn't help asking curiously. He seems to have something to do with that green dragon. The green dragon won't attack him, but instead stares at me and hits me. What? The yellow-haired 5 elders' complexion changed slightly, and he angrily said, "Why didn't you say it earlier? If he doesn't take out the photo of this important information, isn't this guy going to say it?" Kizaru tilted his mouth, not bothering to explain. "This kid's name is Luozi." The yellow-haired 5 elders pondered for a moment, and immediately made a decision. "If you want to investigate the green dragon, it seems that you have to start with this guy." Holding a sword, 5 elders said, "If that dragon really has that kind of power, you can't use strong methods? It will cause a huge crisis. Things are beyond their control, comparable to a green dragon from ancient weapon. If violence is used, wouldn't it be lighting a lamp in the toilet and courting death? But it's obviously impossible not to investigate. The yellow-haired 5 elders nodded and said, since he wants Shishibuki's position, give it to him, then go through him and investigate this matter. Regarding this proposal, the other 4 people also nodded. Next, discuss how to grant Shishibukai. It is not acceptable to give it directly. This child is unknown and has no actual achievements. The outside world does not know who he is. Shishibukai, given out in this way, will cause confusion among the public. A few days later, a piece of news shocked the world. The 4th Shishibukai, the creator of the Dark Knight event, Dragon Rider Luozi, Chapter 19, once the news was released, it spread all over the world in a short period of time, triggering heated discussions. New world, deep in the ocean. A massive white whale ship, the Moby Dick. First Team Captain Phoenix Marco looked at the newspaper and said to the pirate Emperor Whitebeard on the side, Dad, there's a new Shishibukai. When did the government become so efficient? The old Jinbei didn't last long. Whitebeard was a tall man, over 6.6 m tall, sitting on a huge chair and holding a wine gourd. Hearing this, he grinned and said, the world government is also a little anxious. Father, the newspaper said that the Dark Knight incident a few days ago was caused by this new Shishibukai. The captain of the 3rd Division, Diamond Josie, read the newspaper beside him. Hearing this, Whitebeard stopped drinking. Marco, show me. I flew over to look before, but I didn't find anything. As he spoke, Marco handed the newspaper to Whitebeard. Whitebeard saw the photo of the new Shishibukai first, and his face froze for a moment. Is it a child? Dragon Rider Luozi? Has any of you heard of it? Not at all. It's the first time I've heard of it. It can be recognized by the government. This kid is very powerful, right? If he created the Dark Knight, it must be someone with some kind of ability, and there is a high probability that he has awakened. A group of cotters gathered together and discussed. The new Shishibukai is too mysterious. There are still traces of the previous 3. Among them, the Seaman Jinbei has a good relationship with their Beijuan. But this Luozi kid, the past is a mystery, and the bounty is 0. It just popped up overnight. Whitebeard looked at the news content, feeling a little strange in his heart. A bounty is 0, is it a child that even the pirates don't know? Why did the government give the other party the title of Shishibukai so simply? Shishibukai have no small amount of power. Gulala la. What is the government planning? Marco, go and investigate. Sea of Paradise, located on Daughter's Isle in the Calm Belt. The country on the island is called Daughter Country, also known as Amazon Lily. This country was formed by the female fighting nation 9 Snakes. They were born to be trained by on-the-spot fighters, and they carried all their livelihoods and labor on their shoulders. For some unknown reason, the children born to the women were also girls. This day, going out on an expedition to bring material to the country, the 9 Snake pirates led by the Emperor Boya Hancock finally returned to Hong Kong. The national defenders who defended the country, as well as officials at all levels, greeted them at the port one after another. They shouted the names of Master Snake Lady and Master Empress. The Empress, who got off the boat, still had a cold expression, facing her subjects with a cold and proud attitude. Get ready for a bath. The Empress gave orders to a minister. Every time she returns from an expedition, she will take a good bath to dissipate her fatigue, which is already a routine. It's just that whenever she wants to take a bath, the entire vicinity of the palace will be tightly sealed, and no one who is idle will be allowed to take a step closer. After several hours, after finishing her bath, the Empress returned to her bedroom with wet hair, and saw 3 people in the room. 2 of them were younger sisters, and the other was a little old woman. The Empress frowned fiercely. Who allowed you to enter the concubine's bedroom? Snake Princess, the old woman reprimanded her daughter with a newspaper in her hand. I heard from Mary that you refused again. This is the 3rd time? The government's patience will run out sooner or later. After a pause, she patted the newspaper. Look, take a look, this is the newspaper you brought back. The 4th Shishibukai has been confirmed. There are not many places left for you. Humph, Shishibukai. I won't be a lackey of the government myself. The Empress snorted coldly, and said, Mary, Sonia, throw her out. My lord's sister, why mother-in-law? The 2 sisters smiled wryly. Shiji, you Wayward bitch. Grandma Zi yelled, are you going to drag this country into the quagmire of war? Even with calm belt, if the government is determined to deal with us, what will happen to this country? So, have you thought about it? The matter of my concubine has nothing to do with you, you traitor. Throw it out. The Empress waved her big hand, and was so angry that she immediately chased away. People. Seeing this, the two younger sisters had no choice but to set up Granny Zi and took her out. The newspaper fell to the ground. The Empress walked over, picked it up, and looked at it with a slight frown. At this glance, I immediately saw the photo of that stinky kid. This kid really became a shishibukai. The Empress was silent for a moment. She had a deep impression on Luo Zi. She dared to call her stinky and shameless, and she would never forget it in her life. Standing quietly in the bedroom, various images kept flashing in my mind. Shishibukai, celestial dragons, slaves, nations, stinky kids, stinky kids, stinky kids. Thinking about it made me angry again. I don't know how long it took. The two sisters returned. My lord, my mother-in-law is after all. There is some truth in what she said. Of course, I am not saying that I will accept the government's invitation, but... The second sister Sandersonia said softly. She has a headache about the relationship between her sister and her mother-in-law. Humph. The Empress snorted and put away the newspaper. Sonia, contact Naval Headquarters and tell them that I accept it. The two sisters didn't react at once, and they were stunned for more than 10 seconds before they let out an exclamation. In this short moment, what kind of thinking did my elder sister go through? Sure enough, my lord's sister still has a country in her heart. Elijah, an open-air balcony of the castle. Luo Zi played the guitar and accompanied Brooke to the little diva. It's live time. After the singing level has been greatly improved, with the blessing of the accompaniment, Yuta's fans finally broke through 0. The system told him that as of now, the number of fans has exceeded 90, and with a few more, he can complete another task. Suddenly, puff puff. The voice of the phone bug rang. Everyone stopped playing. Luo Zi signaled Yuta to continue with his eyes, then he walked out of the room and connected the phone. It's me, Aokiji. Luo Zi said lightly, is there something wrong? You still don't know? Don't watch the news. Aokiji on the opposite side was a little surprised. The government has promised you and given you the title of Shishibukai. Really? Luo Zi was also a little surprised. According to the agreement, can you give me back my arm? To be honest, life is a bit inconvenient recently. Aokiji said helplessly. I'll send it to you when I'm free someday. As for when you are free, that can only depend on God's will. As if knowing what he would say, Aokiji said very calmly, the headquarters wants you 5 Shishibukai to come to Marineford. I just became a Shishibukai. You guys are going to get together and make trouble? Sorry, no time. Wait a minute, 5. Luo Zi was about to refuse, but suddenly realized. Just an hour ago, the Empress also accepted. Aokiji didn't hide anything, and there's nothing to hide about this kind of thing. It will be officially announced in a few days. The Empress accepted the government's invitation? Luo Zi felt a little surprised. Not interested in. After speaking, he hung up. Just kidding, who's going to Naval Headquarters? At the same time, Naval Headquarters. Aokiji looked at the phone bug with his eyes closed, and suddenly fell into a state of doubting his life. 5 Shishibukai, the answers are surprisingly consistent. Do not have time. In a hurry. Can't go away. And the Empress's concubine is tired and Luo Zi's not interested? Aokiji. He is also tired. Destroy it? Chapter 20. After finishing the call with Aokiji, before returning to the live broadcast room, a system prompt came to my mind. Diva training task. The number of fans of Diva Yuta exceeds 100, and the reward is 10% of the sword skills of One Piece Gold Roger during his lifetime. Mission completed. In an instant, in Luo Zi's mind, the memory of practicing practice appeared again. In this false memory, he seemed to be the young Roger, constantly fighting one enemy after another. Swordsmanship is advancing by leaps and bounds. This time, Luo Zi wasn't in a coma. He was no longer what he used to be. He was no longer that weak earthling. After a long time, he exhaled slowly. 20%? With my current swordsmanship, I'm considered a first-rate swordsman, right? Silently digesting this power, He immediately turned on the system, and the task was indeed updated. The content has not changed, but the number of fans has increased from 100 to 1000. According to the current pace, it can be completed in a week at most. It seems to be soon, but Luozi is not satisfied. Musicians, backup dance troupe are needed. Go and get Kaido's daughter back first, and Koshiki Hiri. As soon as he thought of it, he walked out of the castle decisively and rode a fast dragon towards Wanakuni. The distance between the two places is not far, and the straight line distance is only a few hundred kilometers. Wanakuni, a closed country, not a member of the world government, never accepts outsiders. A place that even marine warships cannot enter is the base camp of the Three Emperors Beasts pirates. In less than half an hour, Luozi had come over Wanakuni. To be precise, it came to another island near the Wanakuni Inland Sea, the sky above Onishima. The island is very small, and the shape of the island is like a ghost, with a huge skull building. Luozi stood on Kuelong's back, overlooking the scenery below from a high altitude. Kaido's daughter, she should be 16 now, 16 years old, name is Yamato. 8 years ago, at the age of 8, the girl witnessed Koshiki Oden's boiling torture and was deeply shocked. Later, she picked up Koshiki Oden's adventure diary and yearned for adventures outside, commonly known as brain-dead groupies. Of course, a large part of the reason for this is that Kaido, the father, does not know how to get along with his daughter at all, which leads to the development of the other party's distorted personality. This is not surprising. The world of One Piece is a world where my father is cheating and my father is even more cheating. Problem girl. Luozi chuckled, and used the elf ball to take Kuailong back. Losing his foothold, his body fell downwards, and at the same time, his eyes turned into Mangekyo Sharinon, with the right eye as the center. A vortex of space sucked him in. Whoosh, disappeared. A small room on the third floor of the skeleton castle on Ghost Island. 2 children, a boy and a girl, about 10 years old, were hiding in a corner, whispering. The little girl took out 2 fruits covered with spiral patterns, and said in a low voice, Xiaopei, let's eat them together, one for each of us. Sister, did you steal it? Captain Kaido's treasury. The younger boy was pale and frightened. Sister, put it back, you will be killed if you find it. No, we must eat. If we want to survive in this pirate group of the jungle, we must have strength. This is the devil fruit of the Zoan ancient species. Only by eating them can we not be bullied. The little girl stared at her younger brother, and forcefully stuffed a fruit to him. But, eat, Xiaopei? If you don't eat, my sister will be sad. Yes. The younger brother couldn't resist the elder sister, looking at the fruit in his hand. He was about to bite it down. Sudden. Behind the elder sister, ripples appeared in the space, and a figure swallowed in the vortex of space. The younger brother trembled in fright, quickly took a few steps back, pointed at his older sister's back, and said tremblingly, I was found out, old sister. My sister saw the shadow of the person, and her small body froze in place with fright. She turned her head mechanically, and saw a boy who was a head taller than her. It's just that the boy's eyes are terrifying, with a sickle-shaped pattern in the blood-red eyes. You are 7. Shishibukai? Dragon Rider. Luozi. The little girl almost screamed. How do you know? Luozi was surprised. Compared to this, what is the Dragon Rider? A nickname given to him by the government? Morning news. She replied blankly. Is the news traveling so fast? Luozi was speechless for a while. From now on he will also be able to clean his face. He looked at the little girl, then at his younger brother who was shivering in the corner. Immediately said with a smile, is it devil fruit in your hand? Yes. The little girl didn't dare not answer, and said in a fearful voice, don't kill us, we will give you the fruit. Why should I kill you? Luozi was speechless immediately. There was no wrongdoing, and he was still a child. Hearing this, both siblings breathed a sigh of relief, and the elder sister handed over the fruit. Here, thank you for letting us go. We won't say anything. What's your name? Luozi thought the little girl looked familiar. Runty. As soon as Luozi heard the name, Luozi knew it instantly, and suddenly said, are you annoying Ti? One of the 6 Vali sons under Kaido's command in the future, a woman who is naturally dull, but sometimes irritable and willful, and sometimes unreasonable, likes to call herself a little girl. In short, She is a very annoying woman with a very detached personality, so she is called Annoying Ti. The other one is her brother Peggy Won? Just as he was thinking, the system beeped again. Diva mission. Although the little girl in front of him is only 10 years old, she has an outstanding appearance and is suitable for joining the girl group under the manager's command. Please train her well, the Divas dance troupe needs more beautiful women. Mission reward, armament hacky, hiss. This dog system made me abduct a little girl again? Rebecca, who was 4 years old last time, hadn't solved it yet. However, once you see the reward, blame sorghum, I'm sure. Come with me. Luo Zi said cleanly, Uncle Shu will take you to a big meal. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.